You know that feeling, right? That spine-tingling, super weird sense that you have lived this exact moment before. But what if that jolt of familiarity wasn't just some random brain glitch? What if it was tied to something even stranger? The feeling that you can actually see what's about to happen? Well, today we're going to decode the surprising scientific link between the oddity of déjà vu and the powerful illusion of prophecy, and see how the hard data really stacks up against paranormal beliefs.
To really get this, we're not going to start in a lab. We're going to start with a real-world story that, on the surface, seems to completely defy any simple explanation.
So picture this. The year is 2008. A professor named Matthew is walking across a parking lot. It's hot, the kind of heat that radiates up from the pavement. He can feel his bag on his shoulder. He can hear the usual campus sounds. He can see the cars all lined up in his very specific way. It's a totally normal moment, until, all of a sudden, it's not.
Matthew just stops dead in his tracks, hit by this overwhelming wave of déjà vu. He is absolutely convinced he has lived this exact moment before. And then, and this is where it gets really weird, he feels like he knows with 100% certainty what's about to happen next. He has this crystal-clear premonition. A woman, in a white shirt, is about to ride a 10-speed bike around the corner from a spot where bikes aren't even supposed to be. And then she does, exactly as he pictured it.
So what in the world was that? Was it a genuine psychic event? A little tear in the fabric of time? Or is there something else going on here? Some brilliant, elaborate trick being played on us by our own minds? That's the huge question we are going to answer today by looking at the hard science that unpacks experiences just like Matthew's.
All right, let's pull back the curtain and see what's actually happening inside the brain during these moments. Because it turns out this feeling, it has a physical home.
Believe it or not, way back in 1959, a neurosurgeon named Wilder Penfield discovered he could actually trigger déjà vu just by electrically stimulating a specific part of an awake patient's brain. That spot was the medial temporal lobe. Now, you need to know, this region is the absolute powerhouse of your memory. And when he zapped it, the patient didn't just feel familiarity. They reported, and I quote, "a feeling that I knew everything that was going to happen." And today, we know that patients who have seizures in this same exact area often experience chronic déjà vu, which just confirms this is where that feeling is born.
So to really study this link, scientists needed to do something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. They had to build a Deja Vu Generator. They had to figure out how to create this strange, uncanny feeling on command right there in a controlled lab setting. And the secret sauce behind their generator is a concept called spatial similarity, which was developed by Dr. Ann Cleary and her team. The idea is pretty simple, actually. Déjà vu often gets triggered when a new place you've never been has the exact same physical blueprint as a place you've seen before, even if you don't consciously remember that other place. So think back to Matthew's parking lot. The theory says he'd probably been in another parking lot with that exact same layout before, and his brain was picking up on it. So here's how they built it. They used virtual reality. They'd have people explore a VR scene, let's say an aquarium. Then later, they'd have them explore a totally different scene, like a reception area. But here was the trick. The reception area had the exact same spatial layout as the aquarium. The desk was right where the fish tank was, the potted plants were where the coral had been. You get the idea. The layout was a perfect one-to-one match.
And that right there, that's the trigger. If a person couldn't consciously remember the aquarium scene, their brain got caught in this weird conflict. On one hand, it subconsciously recognized the familiar pattern of the layout, but on the other hand, it consciously knew, hey, I'm in a brand new place. And that clash between a powerful subconscious feeling of familiarity and the conscious experience of newness, that's what creates that signature spooky jolt of déjà vu.
Okay, so they could now create déjà vu on command. Pretty amazing, right? But the next crucial step was to test its mysterious connection to, predicting the future. So the team designed these virtual tours through their matched environments. The tour in the second scene, the reception area, would follow the exact same path as the one in the aquarium, but it would stop right before the final turn. And at that exact moment, they'd ask the people who were experiencing déjà vu a simple question. Do you know which way the tour turns next? And the results were just stunning. When participants were in the grip of déjà vu, their feeling that they could predict the next turn shot way, way up. They were way more confident they knew it was coming. But what about their actual accuracy? It was exactly 50-50. No better than a coin flip. No better than pure random chance. And this revealed the absolute key insight. Déjà vu doesn't give you precognition, it gives you illusory precognition.
It's a powerful, compelling, and totally false feeling that you can see what's next, all because the present moment feels so intensely familiar.
You know, the best way to get this is with an analogy. You know that feeling when a word is on the tip of your tongue? You can't say it, but you feel it. It's right there, about to be remembered. Well, déjà vu creates something like that, but for an entire experience. Dr. Cleary calls this being on the tip of the consciousness. That intense familiarity tricks your brain into thinking you're about to retrieve the memory of what happens next, even though that memory was never there to begin with.
So understanding that this is all an illusion, a really fascinating trick of our memory, is step one. But this knowledge isn't just academic. It actually gives us a new way to interact with our own minds. So, how can we use this to better understand what's happening inside our own heads?
Let's think about it with a metaphor. Imagine your mind as a theater. Most of the time, you're just sitting in the audience, watching the show of your own consciousness. But déjà vu. Déjà vu is that rare moment where you catch a glimpse of the stage crew working behind the curtain. You see the mechanics of how your reality is being built, and it feels strange because, well, you're not supposed to see that part.
And this knowledge is so empowering. It means you don't have to just be a passive audience member fooled by every mental special effect. You can become the director. You can understand the script, the lighting, the stagecraft, and you can appreciate the show without being tricked by it.
So how do you do that? Well, you can run a quick little wise mind audit on yourself. First, just acknowledge the feeling. Don't dismiss it. It's powerful, and it feels very real. But then, you challenge it. You have to ask yourself if acting on this feeling of prophecy is actually helpful. And then make a choice to base your actions on real-world data, not just the powerful illusion your memory is cooking up.
And at the heart of this whole audit is one incredibly powerful question you can ask yourself in that moment. If I were to believe this strong feeling that this is an omen or that I'm psychic for the next 24 hours, what kind of behavior would that actually lead to? Would it lead to smart, grounded decisions? Or would it maybe lead to arrogance, anxiety, or just ignoring the actual facts right in front of you?
So ultimately, what all this science shows us is that déjà vu probably isn't a glitch in the matrix or a sign of some supernatural power. It's more like a high-resolution reminder of the incredible, intricate, and sometimes beautifully deceptive nature of your own memory. So the next time it happens, you get to choose. Is this a message from beyond, or is it a fascinating, up-close look at the beautiful complexity of the mind that's doing the thinking?